Welcome today to today's episode of This That Type of Talk. And we are thrilled to introduce our very special guest, Eric Bauza. Eric is a remarkably talented voice actor known for his versatility and his ability to bring animated characters to life. From voicing iconic characters like Bugs Bunny and Daffy Duck to his work on shows like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Eric's range and talent have made him a standout in the world of animation. Today, he's here to share insight from his fascinating career, his journey in the voice acting industry, and maybe treat us to a few of his famous voices. So sit back, relax, and let's dive into the animated world of Mr. Eric Bauza.
Bases loaded with the
Wow, what an intro. What an intro. And I love the name of the show, by the way.
Yeah, this that type of talk. Yeah.
Hey,
Or I'm going to say
That type of talk.
you know, there's a lot you could do with that title already. So off to a good start. Yeah.
well, yeah, man. It's so that's I appreciate that a lot. It's funny because coming from the East Coast, upstate New York, Rochester. I know you're from the T dot.
Hey man, we're neighbors.
Yep, Carabana, baby. Nah, but it was a saying that the type of talk that you do, and I wanted it to relate to every single thing that we love, which is obviously entertainment, pop culture, music, so on and so forth. And I just wanted to kind of have it rolls off of the tongue. So we are here.
You won the podcast name game. So
thank you. Appreciate it.
Congratulations, guys. This that type of talk.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're now listening to this that type of talk, Doc.
Yeah, of course. We'll do all the drops at the end of the interview. But thank you guys for having me, and it's lovely seeing you both. I know Hinde, it's ATO. We hadn't seen each other since I guess it was San Diego, but it was the DreamHack video game thing.
Yeah, we did DreamHack, and then Comic-Con, and we had a good time. It was fun. I had a great time. I had a great time at Comic-Con last year, man. It was awesome, man.
Yeah, I can't believe, like, I guess that was only the second time that they had it since COVID, I guess.
COVID, I know. There was a special one that they had. They had this one special one. It was like during COVID. It was in November, and it was half of the convention. But the funny thing about it is, it was fun. It was a lot of fun.
Half of the sweaty fans, and were there still so like minus the congestion, I want to say, we're all sweaty, but but I mean, were there any live panels at all, or was it kind of just vendors and stuff?
It was a couple, a bit, but it was more of like the smaller.
Because I didn't even know that happened. I thought it was only, from what I knew, at least on the studio side, we're only doing virtual like panels and stuff like that.
Right. I was during that time. I was. It was Comic. No. What was it? Boom Studios. They hired me to do. They had this thing called Discover Yours, and it was something about. I did like an intro, some voicing, and then there was a theme song that I made, and it was for virtual interviews and panels, and it was like the new norm, and I was just kind of like thrown off about that. But after that happened, they announced the Comic-Con, and then everybody was going to con, but it was more of like a smaller. The panels were smaller, basically.
Yeah,
but it was fun.
Are you both in the San Diego area then? Is that right?
Yeah. So normally we shoot together. We're in the studio. He has an amazing studio.
Nice.
I'm in Hawaii right now. That's the reason why we're both.
What? Oh man!
Yeah.
Well,
I'm in Honolulu.
We'll make it quick then. I don't want to take you away from. Are you on vacation? Are you taking time off?
We came as a vacation, so I just came out here for a few days, impromptu.
Damn.
He's like, look, I'm gonna pay for your trip. He's
Why
like, you gotta go in the morning.
Why didn't we go? We should all be there right now in Hawaii.
Sure.
What's the weather like there right now?
It's perfect. It's been like mid to high 70s pretty much every day, and then low 80s.
And
But we've already, man, I got a
uh,
lot of good things to say about Hawaii when it comes to the food, especially.
there's a lot of
Mm.
voice actors, had moved there. I keep thinking about like, yeah, what
Coming out this way,
I keep thinking about, here I am in my home booth in
right?
Sherman Oaks, like what
Okay,
that pandemic and what the condition of voiceover is like now.
right.
Still recording remote from home. I go
Hmm.
into the studio. I was just asked if I were comfortable with going into the studio to record with other people, and that's the first
Okay,
time in like, I'm gonna say, a
years,
few years, yeah, that I've been asked that question. But then they changed it to, oh, we're just gonna do it remote, and we're yeah, and as
Mhm.
it's nice to hear that that was even gonna be an option. But I remember
right?
back in the day, uh,
If we're gonna bring it back to that type of talk,
we used to record all the time from like 9 to 1 or 2 to 6 would be like a normal. Those are the normal recording session, days for
Time
the
frames,
for the blue collar voiceover worker. And
yes.
even if you had like 5 lines of dialogue, and it was like at the very first 2 pages of the script, and then your next 3 lines were only at the last page, you as a voiceover artist would have to sit there
The whole
and
time.
wait. Yeah, but that was a
Mhm.
gift to me. That was a gift because you're kind of in the room with these your heroes. You're
Right.
oh no, I gotta be stuck in a
What
room with Mark Hamill and Tara Strong now. Oh boy.
what
I was
that's so crazy.
I felt like I was getting paid to go to school. And that
Yeah.
Mhm.
and that's how I got better, from being a person that liked to do voices and was kind of like an animator, to someone that, you know, now I work. I work. I work. I still say that with a question mark. Like I work.
Mhm.
I work. That's crazy.
Right, right.
But yeah, it's funny how some people actually did go to Hawaii, to Honolulu, for like the first 6 months of that pandemic, and we're like,
Ah,
oh well, I guess if I could really move this booth into a Starbucks as long as wherever you are has a great
right.
internet connection.
Yep.
uh you know so who knows, that'll be the new future location of this that type of talk,
Hey,
Honolulu edition.
we
Yeah.
would love it. And that's the good part about it is now with the technology and the way things are, it's a lot easier for you to move around and still conduct your business, especially when you're in this industry. So that's pretty cool. And it's funny because what you just started talking about was actually what I wanted to ask you first. Can you share the story of how you first got into voice acting and what inspired you to pursue
Mm.
the career?
Well, I'll always bring it back to, and I think this goes for everyone that's on this on the show right now, is like it's the love for entertainment, the love of whatever it is that like got you hooked, to kind of become who you are now, and it kind of stayed with you. I know I
Right.
see a very clever Power Rangers hoodie, that I'm sure somewhere ATO Junior, the young ATO back in the day, ATO watching Power Rangers, your mind was blown. I'm sure the same way my mind was blown when I watched like the Bugs Bunny and Tweety show. And that's kind of what got me,
Mhm.
it was I'm gonna say the second renaissance or the second coming of Looney Tunes, because you have like when it was made, it was like the 30s and 40s. So like
Right.
really that was, I imagine that it took probably, I'm gonna say, like the better part of, I don't know, like what, like a year? Because those shorts, those original Looney Tunes shorts, the original golden age of animation, like they were making them in Burbank. There was no such thing as, oh, we'll just send it overseas. Like there was no
Right.
overseas production. If anything, back then, overseas was the enemy. I don't know. It's like they were
Right.
fighting with overseas. So everything was made in America, which is amazing, and the quality was amazing. And I think that's the thing that people often forget is like, it may never, it may look a little bit more sleek, but it'll never, unless we're actually doing it the exact same way as they did it back in the day, it won't look as good as it did, because really, they were doing everything. They were doing the timing, they were doing the painting, every frame of like those old cartoons, whether it be, Disney, Hanna-Barbera, Warner Brothers, it was all done here. But
Right.
so they made those for theaters, and that was the 50s. Then I think during the 60s and 70s, they had like, oh, well, we still have these great films. Why don't we repackage them for syndication and television? And then they made like the Bugs Bunny show or the Roadrunner show, and it was like all these
Mhm.
repackaged, it was kind of like the original shorts with these new bumpers. And then like the 80s and 90s rolled around, and that's when we had like a little bit of the reruns from like those 50s, and then we would have like Ninja
The new.
Turtles, the
Mm-hmm.
toy driven cartoons. So
Mm-hmm.
I kind
Right.
of like grew up in that era of animation, and I'm sure there are like
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people that did. And
I'm from that
I
era.
yeah, as much as I loved Looney Tunes and the classics, I was also buying, you know, the Frank Welker, Peter Cullen era of characters and toys, and they weren't shy about what they were doing back then, and definitely worked because you know I'm still spending paychecks from Warner Brothers on Warner Brothers. Like I couldn't have bought a more obnoxious cardigan. Uh, and if friggin' Warner Brothers are taking my paychecks back,
That's
but
funny.
yeah, I mean, that's kinda how I got into it. I got into it by literally being a fan. I would race home, and, if it wasn't Saturday mornings, it was like, Warner Brothers after school for me, because that would be
Mm-hmm.
Animaniacs, Tiny Toons, Batman, the animated
Me too.
series. Oh my
See,
gosh,
the
like,
whole
I
the
was
Fox Kids lineup was amazing. That entire Fox Kids lineup was brilliant, bro. Like, even to hear you talk about it, like I even know what era of Looney Tunes that you're even talking about. The CBS stuff, the stuff that was
yeah,
when Nickelodeon grabbed it, when they had the Looney Tunes and the Merry Melodies. Even when you went back and talked about the animation and the artwork, there was an episode. I think it was it's an Elmer Fudd. I can't remember the name of the episode, but he was reading something, and there was a shot on his thumbnail, and the detail on the thumbnail. I'm just like, the detail, man.
See
Like,
see, there's weird things, right, that get you, like,
hmm
there's so
hmm
many, like, and that was, like, the part of me that really got, excited as a kid was I used to record these cartoons, like, on VHS, and I would, like, rewind them back and pause them, and then I would kind of, like, learn how to draw from the screen. Like I would kind of have a notepad out and just
uh-huh.
draw. And that's kind of how I originally got into just animation in general, was kind of
hmm
as a cartoonist. And I was always that kid, and I'm sure there's going to be a listener out there that will relate. I was like that kid in like 8th grade who everyone would ask like, "Oh, hey, like for a project, could you draw this for me?" Like there was something that like even the teachers, they would be like, "Oh, Eric, you're in charge of drawing this for the class." I remember I still have it. It's the 8th grade graduation program before you went on to junior high or high school. And
Right.
I did a caricature of the entire graduating class, like everyone that graduated. I basically just redrew like our school picture together, a class picture, you could say. And yeah, and everyone had to redraw their own caricature that I designed, and it was like at the graduation, so you could take a picture
Oh,
with
that's
your
pretty cool.
yeah,
hmm
and it was definitely heavily Warner Brothers influenced designs. And if I could find it, I will definitely scan it and send it to you guys so you could post
For
it. But
sure.
yeah, it was very interesting, and it kind of just as the dominoes fall like one after another, it kind of just led me to here. Like it was just kind of like I always feel like we're all on a journey, of course, our own cosmic
Yes.
journey, and we take things with us that mean most. And these characters, like Looney Tunes, have always stayed with me throughout my entire life. I don't know. I've always kind of just gone back to them, and I think it's like like when you go to see your favorite stand-up comic, or if you go to hear your favorite musician play your favorite song, it's like you've
Mhm.
heard that song or you've heard that joke a million times, but you just love it so much that you sing along or you play along with the lyrics or the joke, or like you'll never get sick of hearing that same, but bump, like that thing that gets you into it. So
Mhm,
I don't
Right.
know. But
I would
yeah,
agree with you on that because I was big into Looney Tunes, especially Tasmanian Devil was one of my favorites. And then
yeah,
Yosemite Sam, I always liked
yes,
his voice and the way that he was always coming after Bugs Bunny. And what's the monster called? The hairy monster that always chased Bugs
Gossamer,
around?
Gossamer,
Yes, I
yeah.
always loved watching those episodes. So I was big into Looney Tunes as a kid. And then even still, it's crazy to see that you play the voice because if we look at a person, you can never tell that they can flip their voice in so many different directions and things like that. And
yeah,
to see
yeah.
how many different characters that you're able to voice, it amazes me how you're able to find those different voices and just be able to pull them out.
Well, monsters lead such interesting lives. I don't know what the world's coming to these days.
Yeah, yeah, I love that dialogue between Bugs and Gossamer when he's like doing
Bobby pins, please. Yes. Oh, wow. Very
Yes. And
nice.
like he's in a nail salon and he's doing small talk with this giant monster that was about to rip his head off.
Mm,
And
mm,
that's
the
just
nail
Bugs.
salon is my favorite.
Yeah, that's just Bugs for you,
You
right? It's
you
like he could
you
get
know
out of any situation.
going back to
For
what you were
sure.
saying, going back to what you were saying about the characters or just the whole Warner Brothers, anything just being a part of you and you coming back to it. It's kind of similar. I've watched a lot. I looked at a lot of your photos and stuff, and I always leave a comment or I'll text you and I'll text you. I'll say like it's kind of something that was kind of written because you were one of those kids in the 90s wearing the apparel, and then you go to the theme park and then you're next to the character that all of and as an adult you just evolved and you've become that guy.
Yeah.
You're Bugs Bunny, you're Daffy, you're Porky, like you're all these people, and then now you're in the mix, right? So when I had the conversation with you, I don't know if you remember, but I think we're at DreamHack, right?
Yeah.
And then you're asking about the booth. So then whoever the PD was, she was like, "I'm so sorry we didn't get to you, but we got to Chris Alex, and Chris Alex had his stuff over there." And watching, so being watching you, watching Chris, watching, it's weird, right? Because I was a fan of these franchises, these properties, Power Rangers, WB, whatever, for so long, right? To now be in the mix
Oh
and then
yeah.
working towards the goal, and my voice acting journey, like I'm on that journey. It's one of those things where, you know what, was this supposed to happen, or did I meet the universe halfway? Like, was it supposed to really happen this way? Did we really manifest it like this? You know what I mean?
Yeah, no,
And
it's those moments happen. I mean, it's happening right now, It's like that's the thing. It's like it's all within grasp, I feel.
yeah,
And I
yeah.
feel like anyone that has a passion or a dream or like an inkling of like, man, I should really try that, or this still interests me, or it's something that I was approached by a lot of voiceover actors who are also very popular in the stand-up comic world, and they had asked me if I ever wanted to do stand up, and I was like, maybe, I don't know, like I never really thought about it. And it's funny because I tried it for like almost like a year or two, and yeah, it was fine, but I was always thinking about this. I was always thinking about how much I love
Mhm,
being in here and how much more fun I have when I'm behind this kind of microphone versus like, the Netflix stand-up special microphone.
mhm.
And maybe in time, if I continue to work, because it definitely, just like voiceover, it's just got it takes time. Everything like takes time. You have to kind of find your footing and find your voice, just like in stand-up. I never really felt like I had, you know, a direction to go. And I think often people, if they think of me, they'll probably go, "Oh, he'll do voices, he'll be fine." And all I could think of was like, I don't want to do voices. Like
Right.
I don't want to use that as a crutch to kind of, I feel like I'm like, "Oh, it's a cheat," but there are so many great stand-up comics who I love who do voices and who
Right.
use that as a superpower. Pablo Francisco,
Mhm.
Ari Spears,
Larry Spears.
Jay Farrow. Oh my God, Frank
Mhm.
Caliendo. All of these guys who I like, I chat with Frank Caliendo, and it's funny because I'm like, why don't you do voices for cartoons? He's like, no,
I'm
like
good.
he's like, he goes, his answer is, I'm just gonna be a legend over here, and I'm
There
like,
you go.
oh my God, you're so right, like you
Mhm.
are a legend, like he's a guy that if you watch on on his TikTok or on his like Instagram or even his old anytime he's ever done stand up, it's ever been recorded. He just kind of I call him the human waveform because he goes through his Rolodex of voices that he can transform into like Michael Keaton or a Morgan Freeman or a RDJ, Robert Downey Jr. We just kind of like borrow from each other. Iron Man, keep it cool, kids. Yeah. So yeah, it's like it's kind of crazy how like how they again we're all mutants, but
Oh man.
yeah, it's funny how you find your lane and then you're
Yeah.
gonna go do it.
And
So
you go do it. Mhm.
I feel like that's the same with all of us here. Like damn, like I think about like dude, I would love to try to run my own podcast as well. You guys are very inspiring, and
Right.
and it's hard. It takes a village. It's like you're in
Yeah.
Honolulu right now, and you're like, up, got the Kahende. He got the bat signal. I gotta go. I gotta
Yep.
go work.
Yep.
I
ATO,
mean, if
drive
you
the
if
bat
you
signal.
if you want, I mean, we can make you an unofficial member, man. You can be
Hey,
like
there
a
it is.
no, you can definitely be a sub, and then once you feel more comfortable,
Contributing.
we
Pop
have
in and
no,
out.
what we do, and just an FYI, if you need the help to getting your thing, started, we have the people. We have the
We
technology.
have the people.
We
Yes,
have the
we have the
people.
technology. That's amazing, and
Yeah, yeah.
that's the best part about I think that the world of podcasting and voiceover, and
Hmm.
it's just everyone's so generous and is everyone everyone's trying to help one another, and I always feel like when one of us rises, we all rise. So
No,
you
I
know,
agree.
And
I'm
that's
I'm
the
very
part
strong
that's
on that.
crazy
I'm
to
very
me
strong on that.
because you don't really see that in the music industry as much.
mhm.
And somewhat in the film and acting industry, you don't. So it's weird to me to see this different dynamic with the podcasting slash voiceover anime demographic. I'm seeing people that are a lot more willing to help you. And that's
Uh-huh.
very shocking to me because I'm not used to people doing that. Even when they say they will, they don't
Yeah.
usually do the things they say.
It's funny because like you had mentioned on camera and even in music, it's almost like the
Right.
only I feel like they will help you if they're already established. If they're already not on
Yes.
Okay, that is
not on their rise, but if they're already in a certain at a certain point in their career where another person's like, you
Right.
know what? If I collaborate with them, then we could become an even like it's like Voltron. But I think
mhm.
like,
Yes.
I think what makes audio like podcasting and voiceover and anime, like the stuff that's way, way behind the camera and behind the mic even
Hmm.
is that we'll always kind of just be humble in what we do because it's not necessarily it's about us in a sense, obviously, like the talent needs to
Hmm.
be there,
Right.
but it is about the character that you are bringing to life almost, it's kind of
Right.
that's more important and that's more on the line than who I am, and I think that's also kind
Yeah.
of a cool thing because I obviously agree and welcome authentic casting, and I think that's a great thing that's happening right now. But it voiceover is still to me like you gotta be at least in my area, like as far as voice matching or like uh or legacy characters. It's like you just have to sound like it doesn't matter who it is. You have to act the part. Like you have to just they don't really care. I think it's really funny how like, oh, Bugs Bunny's Filipino now, and it's like, well, I'm like, it's not even like a battle that Filipino. We're like, oi, we have to get Bugs Bunny. We have to do the voice of the kid. Like, it's not even like Filipinos had like, we need that back. It's like
Oh
we
my
never
Yeah.
really,
god.
it's not like we ever had it. It's like,
Can you
Hey
do it or
man,
not, Doc? Yeah.
You're
So
from the T
anyways,
dot, bro. You're from
yeah.
the T dot. One
Question
of the
for you.
greatest.
So, what's one thing about voice acting and animation that would surprise people the most?
I think it is again like the degree of difficulty of like because unlike on camera, it's like you're stripped away of everything that you could use in your toolbox to convey emotion. Now you're kind of just stranded with your voice. I often say a lot of people who are on Broadway uh, could make it in voiceover because it's a certain kind of acting that is not it's just over the top enough because they have to be able to reach people in the front row and they have to be able to reach people who are sitting in the back. And it's the kind of acting and the kind of like methods that you know that I feel are very useful in voiceover. It's kind of like and knowing your proximity too, like
Mhm,
where you are in the scene
mhm,
mentally because you don't have that you're not on a set. You're in a booth and you have the words and you have the script and the direction uh to guide you. But I find I see like a lot of newcomers and a lot of people now that are heavy hitters in the live action world, but when you kind of throw them in the deep end of voiceover, they're kind of like, "Oh God," like you could really hear the how uncertain they feel. And
mhm.
again, it just takes time. Just takes
Yeah.
time. Like
Right.
me, my biggest note that I ever got when I first started, I booked El Tigre: The Adventures of Manny Rivera on Nickelodeon a long time ago. On I think it was like 2006, and I was like, well. That's it. I broke all my pencils. I was like, I'm never going back to animation. This is gonna go on forever, like The Simpsons. And then it was canceled after like 2 seasons. And then I was like, oh crap, I got to go back to drawing, literally back to the drawing board. And then I got another job. It was on GI Joe Resolute, not voice directed, but directed by Joaquin DeSantos. And I remember the voice director, Chris Salter, had contacted my agent over at SBV, and they're like, "Hey, just so you know, like your new client is super nice and he's a sweet guy and he can do all these wacky voices. But the note was he's not a great actor." and and then you get that and it's like, okay, the first thing you think of is like, wow, okay, well, they're right. Number one, because I just literally was at my desk drawing my entire life, and I never knew that you had to be a good actor to be in the booth, which is common sense, really. Number two, like I was like, great, now my agent is gonna drop me. So I was like, now I'll be twice unemployed because I just quit my animation job. But they didn't drop me;
Ah.
they kept me on, and I just knew that I had to not suck anymore. I I had to I had to get better, and I somehow did. It took 2 years because it's funny
Nice.
because I was working with Andrea Romano
Oh
a
my
while.
gosh.
Yeah, and
Lucky.
she went, "I don't know what happened to you, but I guess in a couple of years, like a switch just turned on and and it was I and it goes back to the generosity of perfect strangers. That's like 90% of my career. It's like
Call it the
these
Balky. Call it the Balky effect.
yes, exactly. Perfect strangers. Exactly. I'm the guy from the sheep herder from Mipos. All I have to say is that type of talk. You have to find your Larry Appleton. Yeah, you have to find your Larry Appletons out there. So it's literally like the kindness and generosity of perfect strangers
Mhm,
that had led me to where I am now. It's because of the people that saw the glint in this eye or that eye, your eye. The people that see the passion behind. Like, okay, he's got some work to do but at least his heart is there. And also the biggest rule I could also share is like don't be an asshole because
Right.
yeah.
that's the
Mhm,
other thing. It's like there are a lot of jerks out there that probably could get more work, but it's kind of like the nice people who are kind of okay that get called back because it's like, who would you rather spend time with? Like
Mhm.
4 hours with that person or 4 hours with that person, you know?
You find out who's volatile and who's not. That's
Right.
all.
And oh my
Uh-huh.
gosh, thank God I'm
Yeah, man.
Canadian. Yeah. You know,
Well,
these Canadian voice actors, they come over the border, right? They come take all the jobs. We got to get rid of these Canadian voice actors, you know.
so I have a question for you, man. So out of all of the characters that you voiced, do you have a personal favorite? Or do you have a perfect? Yeah, is there a favorite?
Well, I'd have to say I'm wearing him on my sleeve, literally.
It's always been Bugs for me. He's always been number one with a bullet.
Mhm.
A wabbit. I'm hunting wabbits with wabbit bullets.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's like he's always been my favorite. I could literally run into my house. Every time I go back to Toronto, I always like go through my old junk that I still have there. I still have like I remember just literally ripping open a I think it was I think it was either the Will Smith or the Tommy Lee Jones blaster from Men in Black that was still in the
Okay.
packaging. Again, you're
Yeah.
talking to a kid of the 90s. So I saved all of that stuff and I have like a lot of my old drawings from like
Uh-huh.
1993. I think I was probably
Wow.
15 or something like that. And it's all Bugs Bunny it's Bugs Bunny, like the Hair Jordan, like that's what really got
Yeah,
me was
yeah.
when was the first time I ever saw Bugs Bunny and Michael Jordan on a Super Bowl commercial together.
Can a rabbit get any sleep around here? What's up with all the racket?
Yeah, and it's like all of these bullies were ganging up on Bugs.
What's up, Jock? I was only kidding.
Yeah, so I'm doing my Greg Burson impression of Bugs, not my Mel Blanc one. I
Mhm.
could do
There you
all
go.
I could do all the different Bugses, like Billy West.
Who does Bugs Bunny money? I'll give you some time to get more carrots every time I rhyme. Can a mouse write this? Does he have long furry ears like this?
Yeah, so that's the space that's the Space Jam soundtrack, which by the way, Buggin was written by Jay Z. He went under
Oh,
that song on the Space Jam soundtrack. The best part was he went under his real name. It was Carter,
Sean,
right? It was Sean
Sean
Carter.
yeah,
Carter.
Sean Carter.
It
Mhm.
says written by Sean Carter, not written by Jay Z, but Sean Carter. So I
Uh,
laughed so hard. Yeah,
Who? Yeah, what was like Trump's wife up to my ears in carrots. Not even the barber can fade this rabbit. Yeah. See, it's all good because Bug's got props. I'm a rabbit. See, all we do is hip hop. Yeah.
yeah, it's crazy. Like that's the Billy West version of Bugs. But the only person who could ever say they rap with Jay Z as Bugs Bunny is Billy West.
that's
But
crazy.
yeah, Bugs. I was gonna say that to answer
So
your
so
question,
so
Bugs.
so are you
I
what you're saying is you wanna does your Bugs wanna make a rap song?
Oh my gosh! I mean, I already rapped
As Porky and Daffy. Yeah. When people hear the name
man,
Daffy, all they're thinking is duck. When they hear algae, all they're thinking is yuck. I got LeBron and Bugs, so who should I fear? The best tune squad in over 25 years? You want to be king of the web? Well, that's neat. Here you go. You can start by massaging my web feet. Woohoo! Woohoo! Woohoo!
yeah. That's something that they had cut out of the movie, but it's on the soundtrack. So
Mhm.
yeah, there was a whole back and forth between and oh my gosh, Algae Rhythm. He had a whole
oh yeah,
section. He had a whole section that got cut out where he's rapping, and I know I have it on
ah,
my phone somewhere. But it's no surprise to me. But yeah, who knows? I remember back in the 90s, there used to be albums that they would release with the Looney
yes,
Tunes. My
Yeah.
dream is to do all of the Looney Tunes characters covering like maybe like the top 7 Wu-Tang songs.
Mhm.
So
what?
yeah.
You know what would be a perfect song to do with the characters? Triumph.
Oh, absolutely. That was my
Triumph.
number one with the bullets.
Bro, we ran home when we knew the premiere of that video was coming out.
Oh
We ran home. I
yeah.
jumped the wall, my neighbor's wall. I scraped my chest up trying to just ran in. My dad was like, "What's up?" And I was like, "Nothing." I ran through the living
Was
room, ran through the kitchen. turn it.
Was it on 106 in Park? Where did it
No, no, no,
premiere?
no,
What
no.
was it?
106 now. 106 didn't exist back then. It was on BET on the basement on Rap City. It was on
Uh-oh.
Rap City the basement. Yeah,
Oh my
yeah.
God, you're kidding me.
It was on Rap
That's
City.
crazy.
I was shuffling through and I was like, yeah, Triumph would be the ultimate. Sorry, to continue. Where was it premiering? What
On
program?
BET on Rap City.
It was on Rap City. So
Yeah, it was
106
Rap
didn't
City.
exist then. I
No,
thought it
no,
was.
106 didn't exist. It's what 106 came out when I think it was like 10 years later, maybe.
I see.
Maybe 10 years.
Yes.
Yeah, about 10 years later.
But yeah, Triumph. I mean, I wonder what it would take to produce that. But it would be like,
I bomb atomically. Socrates' philosophies and hypotheses. Can't deny how I be dropping these mockeries. Lyrically perform armed robbery. Flee with the lottery. Possibly they spotted me. Yeah.
Like
we can get it done for you. Put it that way.
Well, if you want, we've had this convo a little bit before. We can work that out, man. Work something out. I would love to work with you on some music, man. That'd be awesome.
Man, that would be a dream come true. But yeah, I was asked that question because I had been brought in for one project, and that's the other funny thing about voiceover. It's kind of like you kind of get called in, just like when the bat signal goes off. You kind of get called in to do these odd jobs here and there, and one of them was to go back in, and they were correcting. I guess we're getting into the woke culture of Looney Tunes now. I guess they were correcting I guess it was a pronoun or a gender reflected pronoun within the Looney Tunes for a stage show in like something that they do in the theme parks or something, and then I had to go in as Sylvester and fix something. So yeah, it was kind of funny. It was kind of a funny thing because I was like, oh okay, like I'm getting paid, but it was kind of like I worked with the guy that had produced all of those Looney Tunes covered the Beatles, Looney Tunes, like he did all those albums in the 90s where,
Today it's your birthday.
Yeah, like it was like they would cover all the Beatles oldies songs. I'm like, oh my God, we got to do like a 90s. I want to cover How Do I Say Goodbye? Can you imagine?
Please, we gotta do all the throwback R&B. People would love it.
Yeah.
Sitting up in my room, packing things about you. I must confess, I'm a mess for.
Like nothing would be worse than Daffy Duck covering a Brandy song.
Man.
Man.
Yeah, I would do all of the night. I would do every Aaliyah #1 hits.
Let's do it.
Bud. Yeah.
Let's do it.
So
brush yourself off and try again. You can brush yourself off and try again.
Yeah, that would be hilarious.
So can you walk us through the creative process on the character's voice, and how do you find the right tone and personality with one of these characters?
Man, if we're going to talk about legacy characters, of course, the groundwork has been done already by the great Mel Blanc, who created all of the original Looney Tunes character voices. And if anything, they're more personalities than there are voices to me now, because they're 80 years old. Oh, plus 80 years plus. We talk about them. I always say, like, we talk about our oldest relatives. And it's literally just watching and listening. There's a musicality, I guess, to all of these characters. Man, oh man, it leaves such an impression on you. Like anytime you say one of these characters' catchphrases, it kind of brings you in. But yeah, it's more than a catchphrase. There's also the process of working with different creators, because when I worked on Space Jam, that was a different Daffy than I did than I worked with Daffy on Looney Tunes cartoons. They definitely wanted the
greedy Daffy for Space Jam. What are you doing with the ball, Rabbit? Give it to LeBron.
Yeah, like they definitely wanted like the greedy
I'm not a betting duck, but my money's on the other team.
He was saying that to his own teammate.
Yep,
What kind
I
of
remember that part.
what kind of jerk would say that other than Greedy Daffy? And then for Looney Tunes cartoons, they wanted hey there, chum. It was like the faster paced, more crazier Daffy, the one that was just like, it was the nutty one, the Daffy. So yeah, obviously knowing which mode to be in and kind of again being a study of these characters. Now, if you're talking about original characters, then
Right.
you have an entire playground to play with, and hopefully, if they're kind to you, they give you more than just 5 random lines of dialogue. Sometimes you open your email to an audition, and it's like things are done fast, and unfortunately, sometimes voiceover is the last thing they're thinking of. So they're like, okay, well, let's just put these like different lines of dialogue together and just send them to the actors, and hope that you
Something
know
comes out.
yeah, it's like let's give these guys like the lettuce, the tomato, maybe some of like the meat and some topping, and they'll fill in the rest. And sometimes you get the whole script, which is awesome because it'll have the conversation that you're supposed to have with the other characters, and even sometimes within that conversation, they will have the description of the exact scene. So use
Mm.
every word on the page that they give you if you're an actor opening up an audition, and then look at that character description. They're usually, sometimes they're written very well, and then
Or
sometimes you
not at
just
all.
sometimes you just know they have no idea, and they're hoping and begging that you just knock it out of the park for them. Like you're the X, you're chemical X. You're the one that kind of brings that to the table. So yeah, with original characters, I just kind of go. I definitely, to me, it's like try to be funny. And that's hard. That's like a weird piece of advice because it's like, okay, how do you be funny? I don't know. You just kind of find the comedy in the script. Also, as an actor, you're supposed to be the guy or the girl or the person that can deliver the joke or the information. You're the one, there's a saying, it's like I don't write the news, I just report it. It's like you're the
Yes.
one that has to give that information back to the audience. So it's being able to master the art of interpreting script and how it's supposed to be said. And that is, you have the technical tools like, okay, how old is this character? What is this, a grandpa? Is this a princess? Is this a warrior? Is this an orphan? They usually give you that information that never changes. It's like this is who the character is. It's up to you to fill out the meat on the bones, right?
Yes.
And there's other things like proximity. Like, are you talking to someone on the tip of a mountain to another mountain over there, or are you guys like cheek to cheek? Like it's like you know how I got these scars. You remind me of my father. Yeah, it's kind of like yeah, like that, like that scene. Like I don't want to be face to face with a Joker that just ate shrimp cocktails. Like that's gross. You remind me of my father. Why so serious? Yeah. So like yeah, there's and yeah, again, if we're going back to legacy, it's like which voice, which Joker are you gonna match today, ATO? I think I know who you like the best.
Well,
I think I know who you like the best.
I
Yeah.
think you know me very well, good sir. I am
Yeah.
here with the illustrious Eric Bauza, and we're having a wonderful conversation about life. Welcome
See,
to that type of talk.
see, there's something about that Joker that stuck with you that
It
can
did, man.
really.
It's dude. It's Fox Kids, man. It's Fox Kids, brother. Like Fox Kids, like it really like that. Listen, man. Growing up, there was a time where when we didn't have cable and all we had was like daytime like regular local TV, and Fox was everything to me because I would come home from school, watch all my shows, do my homework, go outside, mess around. Then later on that night we watch all the primetime shows like Married with Children and Kung Fu: The Legend Continues and Time Tracks and all those crazy shows. You know what I mean? And Acapulco Heat. What?
Hey,
Oh my
there it is.
goodness.
There it is.
He's taking it back on them.
Yeah. But I mean, that was a part of my life, man, and that's why even on the weekends when the what is it, the Bugs Bunny was it the Bugs Bunny and Daffy show? Was it
Bugs Bunny and Tweety show.
Tweety show? It was on
Yeah.
ABC, right?
Yeah,
It was a part of the One Saturday Morning before the One Saturday Morning came out,
yeah.
and it was like and then the Dark Sonic, the Saturday morning
Oh,
cartoon. Remember Dark Sonic, the Saturday morning cartoon, the Saturday morning Sonic?
oh yeah.
Yes.
No, that was
Yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah,
Was
yeah, yeah,
that
yeah.
was Jaleel White voicing him at that time?
He that was the craziest thing. He did 2 shows that were produced by Deke, but 2 different tones, which was
Yeah,
crazy. It was
yeah.
the wacky, goofy in the afternoon Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog. Then Saturday morning on ABC, the darker, evil Sonic
Oh
the
man.
Hedgehog
See,
cartoon.
when the Sonic movie franchise starts to get into the multiverse, I would love to see him return as
Oh,
because he just made a return in voiceover as Urkel for Urkel Saves Christmas.
I
Just
saw that. I
I
saw that.
I
I
just
heard
saw
just
that.
that.
Yeah.
yeah, and he sounded great. He sounded
He,
amazing. Like he
he
sounded
did.
like as if I remember when they were advertising, was it Purple Urkel? Was that like the marijuana strand that he was it was him and Snoop Dogg back
Oh wow.
I think so. It was something like
almost
that.
like 2 years ago.
Or Nurple Purple or something. They called it like
Yeah.
something like funny.
But yeah,
Mhm.
it was kind of like he could still do it. And I know like the fans for Sonic would go ballistic if he ever had a return to that character.
I mean, they should just do it. I mean, even Drummond in the video games, he's awesome. But what we all know, we know Jaleel, as got a spade, kid, fast as I
Right.
can be. Like his whole his voice. It was just because I remember when I first heard it. Like what's so crazy? I discovered the Sonic cartoon on accident. So I went over to my grandma's house. I was doing some yard work, and then I took a break, and then I turned the TV on, and I'm like, what? And I immediately called my friend. I'm like, "Hey, did you see this Sonic the Hedgehog cartoon?" He was like, "Yeah, I've been watching it for a week." You know? And yeah, and I was hooked ever since. Yeah,
That's
man.
amazing.
Sounds like
Yeah.
Mhm.
your dad sent you to your grandma's house quite a bit because all the stories end up being at grandma's house.
Hey, when there's a yard involved, you gotta go.
Yard work. You gotta go do
You
the
gotta
yard work.
go. You gotta do the yard work. So
Mhm.
That makes
that's that
sense.
that should be the name of this episode, is you gotta do the yard
There
work,
you
guys.
go.
If you wanna enjoy Sonic, if you wanna enjoy the riches of life like Sonic the Hedgehog, you gotta do the yard work.
That's a
But,
fact,
There you
man.
go.
that's with
So
everything
what is
revolving, voiceover. Sorry, go ahead, sir.
oh no, I was just gonna ask you, so what has been the most challenging role you've taken on and what made it so tough?
Man, oh man. Well, I hate to always bring it back to Looney Tunes because it's just again the stuff that people care about the most. I think
Right.
like you know, obviously you could say your first job always will be the most challenging, and that was on LT Gray. That was like jumping into a room full of like seasoned veterans like Gray Delisle, Alana Ubach, Carlos Alazraki, John DiMaggio. Just being over at Nickelodeon was crazy. Like my first day of work on Fairly Odd Parents. It's funny. I kind of, they always say steal from the greatest, the greats, right? Or
Yes.
borrow from the greats. So the character Foop was kind of like my. eh, He was the evil fairy baby, right? So they had a good fairy baby named Poof, voiced by Tara Strong. What a crazy show.
Right.
Fairly Odd Parents. And then of course, if you have a good fairy baby, you need an evil fairy baby. So not a lot of people know that Butch Hartman and Seth MacFarlane used to work together on Johnny Bravo back in the
Yeah.
90s for Hanna-Barbera. They used to be like office mates, and I'm sure they're still
Okay.
friends. Um, but I believe when Butch was kind of pitching that Foop character, the evil fairy baby, anytime a baby is evil, of course, you're always going to think about Stewie, right? You're always going to think that maybe he's British and he wants to kill everyone. And it's funny because why do cute babies want to kill everyone?
Mhm.
I guess
Right.
that's what makes ratings, I guess. So anytime he had pitched that character, I think the intent was that he was going to voice that character. But I think that they're like, it's too much like Stewie, or we need something
Mm,
that isn't reminiscent of Stewie, because at the time Family Guy was just on fire. Um,
yes.
so they had me come in, and I kind of read it like I was kind of I was kind of like doing it like Jiminy Glick, that character that Martin Short created, who interviews all of the celebrities. It's Martin Short in like the fat costume, and he kind
Uh,
of talks like this. He kind of talks really high, and then he goes really low. Like he's talking to you, and then he's like, I'm a big fan of your work, and I like what you do, and that's kind of what I did with Foop. He kind of was up here, and then he would go down here. It was kind of like in that arena, and it just worked for whatever reason. And you know, again, it's the curveballs I think that they throw at you that makes every role challenging. Because sometimes, again, they'll be like, "We're so certain we want this," and then like when you get behind the mic, they're like, "Now make him
don't
Scottish,"
want it.
because yeah, and then you're like, "What?" Like,
Mm.
oh, as a voiceover artist and as an actor, I think it's like you have your like, okay, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. They're gonna laugh, and then I get to go home. It's gonna be a lovely day. They'll give me a check, and I'll go to the bank. It's gonna clear, and then like you get there, and they're like, everything that you prep for, they throw out the window, and they're like, "We're going this way," and then you're like, "Oh my god!"
I
So
already come now. I'm
What do I
committed.
do?
now you're like, "Okay, I gotta play ball.
Mhm.
I
There you
gotta,
go.
I gotta do this." It's like getting the role of Belly Bag on Uncle Grandpa. I played a talking fanny pack that sounded like this. I thought maybe this would be a good idea. And it went on for like 4 seasons or 5 seasons. And by the end of it, my voice I was like, why did I painted myself in a corner with this voice? Like the, and I feel like that's why a lot of Cartoon Network shows, they always ask for a natural approach, because it's like that's just music to your ears. Who wants to
Mhm.
hear this
Absolutely.
voice for 4 years? Not me. Yeah, like it was like a great, but still, like it's a funny character to me. Belly Bag. I always thought of Belly Bag as like the Lisa Simpson of the show, like the least like character. Like nobody,
Man,
you know.
tell me
Listen,
why
listen,
he's
listen.
touching on. Listen,
Everything.
Eric, it's funny. We just talked
It's,
about a lot of
oh
the
my
things
god!
that you're touching on right now, just right
Literally,
before we got on this with you. So the Batman animated series,
animated
Animaniacs, how you
Animaniacs,
just brought that up
everything.
now, like
Yeah.
everything you're touching is exactly what we were just talking about in a debate with some other guys on a different podcast. So it's
Oh.
crazy that like it's all just tying together right now too. It's funny.
Yeah, that's the universe talking, fellas. That's what
Uh,
happens. This is why, hey, this was supposed to happen, right? You were talking about, is this supposed to
Absolutely.
happen?
what
And
what kind of mic is that? Are you?
oh, this is
U87.
the U87. We
Oh,
have a
okay,
winner.
Wow.
okay.
We have a
I'm the
winner.
king of I am the king of equipment. If you ever need
This is
suggestions
true.
on things, I am the
This is
king of
true.
equipment, soundproofing, all of that. Like your booth, I'm already like I've been looking at it the whole time. I'm a
You need to help me. You
equipment
need to
guy.
make it sound better here. It's
No, it can
Let's
definitely
do
be
it.
done. No, that can
I've
definitely be
I've
done.
I'll buy you guys pizza if you just come here and deck out this booth.
Let's do it.
Let's do
We'll
it.
do it. No
Not a
problem.
problem.
Road trip to
Um,
LA.
yeah.
We'll do it.
You know what's crazy? I don't even. I should have told you this. I mean, I wouldn't have mind coming to you podcasting also, and maybe
We can
sometime
do
in the
another
future.
episode.
Yeah, and then maybe sometime in the future you can you can come down to the studio or whatever.
We'll we'll make it a two-parter. Yeah, I was,
For
I
sure.
as much as I like to do the Zoom, I think it's a lot more interesting and more fun. This is where like, this is where I lose all my potential to have dates after this interview, but it's like, here's your animated series right here.
Hey,
And I collect all the bad guys I have, and then I have like one, like I could, I'm not gonna stop until I run out of hand space. I don't know what else I have here, but yeah, these are like I have like a ton of like the original animated series like figures. When if you guys come by, I'll take you to this place on Magnolia Boulevard in Burbank called Blast from the Past. And
okay.
they literally have my PIN number and half of my son's college fund. It's already gone. My son's not going to go to school probably because of my bad habits. But as you can see, freaking worth it. Come on, look at
For
this little
sure.
So that
Joker,
one
man.
of the Jokers,
Those are crazy.
that indie project that I'm working on, they sent me one of the Jokers. I don't know where he gets all of the vintage toys from, but he has all of the 1991 run, bro. I'm like,
All
where'd you?
the original like vintage.
Yeah, it's like it looks all like it's been in a storage for a long time. The copyright the stamps are on there and everything. He has all of that stuff, man. He sent me a Joker. I should probably get it. It's probably here already, believe it or not.
This is
I haven't even checked the mail.
this is a boardroom in the Warner Brothers studio. That I was just there the other day, but look at this. I don't know if you can see it. Those are all action
Oh
figures.
my goodness. Yeah,
Yeah, I
it's
can see.
crazy.
Oh man.
Everywhere.
Sheesh.
So this is one of the boardrooms, wall to wall,
That's
like
crazy. That looks like
action
it
figures.
looks like the Comic-Con headquarters. When
Right? Getting set up.
I used to be on the committee and stuff, and in the Comic-Con headquarters, man, they have
Uh-oh.
all this stuff, and it's crazy how I'm like, where y'all get all this stuff? Oh, we just collect everything, and I just some of the stuff is mine, and we just put it up, and it looks like a literal museum. Looks
Yeah,
nice.
yeah. It's the new Warner Brothers facility is like insane. Like
Hmm.
whoever designed it and is doing all of the decorations. Every floor is different. Every floor has a different meaning to Warner Brothers Animation, and also the DC studios is there too. So whatever they are making
Okay.
DC, when I walk by anyone's desk that's out there, it's insane.
Mm.
It's every real toy or hot toy, like the every like those big versions of the toys that are like human sculpts of like the Christian Bale Batman. It's like insane,
That's crazy.
insane. I always think I have like too much crap in my house, and then I go to that studio and I'm like,
Mm.
someone's got
I'm doing
problems.
all right.
Yeah,
Not so bad.
You
Not
know
so
what's
bad at
funny?
all.
yeah. Uh-huh.
So for me, I was big into shoes. So I
Oh
have
yeah.
like all the Jordans and all the different ones. So I have the Bugs Bunny 8 sitting that I've never worn.
Hey,
I
oh,
still
not
have the
Warren, huh?
Space Jam. Nope, I have them dead stock sitting. I still have my Space Jams. I wore them a lot and the sole just separated. So now I'm trying to figure out restoring them. So I
Which
have all of
the Jordans, the
the
original?
14s. Yeah, I have the 2014 Jordan 11 Space Jams. And so
Very
I'm like,
nice.
now the soul just separated on those, but I'm like, yeah, I'll have to bring them up and have you, do your thing, sign on them or something. Cause I'm like, I've had them sitting for a minute and I'm big in toys and, shoes, but I try to limit the
Mhm.
toy, you know, output, but I'm
Oh,
starting
trust
to
me.
get back into that hamster wheel of putting a whole bunch of stuff in.
But
There's a
it's our
reason.
era. It's our
Oh
era.
yeah.
It's just the
Yeah,
era that we come from. That's all it is.
It's
The
there's a
essence.
re-
The essence. Sorry.
Oh no. Yeah, it's the era that we come from. It's kind of it's all the things that we couldn't have as kids. Now we have a chance to get them back.
You know what I
get
like to tell people?
everything.
I say the essence of who I once was as a child. That's the thing that's powering me as an adult. Like that's
Right.
I always say that, man, because I'm telling you, like, each generation is gonna say they had the best so and so, but we literally had everything, man. We had 2 decades, maybe 3 decades of every fucking thing, man. Like everything. We had amazing network television. We had game shows. We had toys. We had commercials. I mean, dude, one of the like when I you I get into the tangents like this sometimes, man. But see, one of the things that's crazy coming home from school, the commercials and the bumpers. I'm a fan of bumpers. I'm a
Oh
fan of
yeah.
commercials like Lucky Charms commercials, those Barbie commercials, the Hot Wheels commercials. I mean, dude, I had the opportunity to be trained. God bless the dead, Scott Page Pactor. He trained me for months, right? And I told him how I felt about stuff. He had me do he so many commercials like Hot Wheels, McDonald's, Arby's, like all the things that he produced like from the 90s. And he goes, hey, he showed me the Ronin Warriors reboot. He goes,
Oh.
I want you to voice Anubis. And I'm like, what? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and it's just and it literally it took me back to where we watched Power Rangers, Animaniacs, Tiny Toons, everything. And
Yeah.
that part, that bubble, that time bubble right there is the stuff that shaped us. Because
For sure.
who we are right now today, I make music, Corey does music. I went to Art Institute to be an illustrator. I wanted to be. The only reason I went to Art Institute was to get a job at Nick, and in 2005 was the year like Nickelodeon shut down in Orlando, bummed me out. I moved to California. I pursued this stuff right here, the music and the acting, the VO, whatever. and then watching you as you're grinding your come up and hearing your story and literally seeing. I see photos of you. The T-shirt you bought that shirt from Kmart. Your mom got you that shirt from Kmart because I had that shirt, and then you're next to a character, and then 20 something years later, you literally become that person that you were. It's wild, bro, and
Yeah.
it literally is the universe, and that's why I
It's a little
respect it.
crazy.
Yeah,
It's like the joke that everyone makes of like we're in a simulator.
it has to be,
Right?
man, because it's great, man. This
Sometimes it
is
seems like
Uh,
it.
like
best simulator ever. Shit.
honestly, if that's true, then I definitely am the kid that cracked the oh, if we just keep hitting this shell against the wall, we'll get like a free man,
Hey,
100%.
Mario. Ah.
Or if I just duck behind this platform, I'll go behind it, and then I'll find that secret door that gets me the whistle that goes to like world 8. Yeah, that's the that was like
Super
There
Mario
we
Mario
Brothers
go.
3, Brothers 3,
Mario 3. Yeah.
Mario 3. Come
So
on now.
since we were talking about our decade and like our eras, that leads me to my next, thought is where do you see animation and just like the voice acting space heading in the next decade?
Well, again, like all the trouble and all the debate over AI, it's such a hot button issue, and it's why we went on strike. It's one of the reasons why we went on strike. But we're talking about a lot of the past and what was good about it, and like it's almost like God, if we all just kind of turned around and not for the sake of reboots, but it's just like how things were done back then. I think that we got a little oversaturated and a little like you know and again it's with the times and with the demand. If it wasn't for like the pandemic, I guess we wouldn't have the initial like we got to start making more stuff because that's all people are doing right now for like the next 3 years. And like that just goes to show you how easily we are as a society easily tipped off the balance. We were doing just fine. And then suddenly we finally hit the reset button and we're like, oh my god.
We squandered everything. I think we
Every
squandered everything, like especially the things that we've all come up and grown to love in the '90s. We took advantage and we didn't. We just squandered it, and then now we're looking crazy, looking around.
Yeah, well,
Everybody's afraid of AI.
the other thing too is like I think we got to peek behind the curtain a bit too much, like the behind the scenes, and it kind
Mhm,
of
mhm,
gives people empowerment and like everyone's an expert. I guess everyone always is an expert anyways. It's like you
mhm.
present something to someone and they have like, oh, you know what you could do to make this better. It's like everyone has like an opinion, and that's fine. Have your opinion, but also make stuff. If you're gonna criticize something, you have to make stuff.
Make
Like
it,
you
yeah.
you, you
That's a
can't
fact.
you can't just sit on your tower and shoot people down. You have to like if you're gonna contribute opinions, I'd say make it good advice,
Yeah.
but as far as like voiceover, yeah, it's tough right now. We're just in the battle of just we're at this crossroads where we were with streaming that I feel like when we were with streaming and video games, we were asleep behind the wheel, not thinking that these things would take over. I remember the turning point was when like Grand Theft Auto, I don't know which one it was, but
3.
yeah, was it 3 that
It
was
was 3.
released when that one was released and it was like between that and Spider-Man 3 when the Tobey Maguire
Yep, it was 3.
the Spider-Man, yeah.
Mhm, mhm. It was 3. Yep.
When that video game made more money in one weekend than a box office, a blockbuster box office, that's when I was like, "Uh-oh,"
Things are changing.
I think we got to start paying attention more to this because like, and that was when the actors behind Grand Theft Auto were like pissed because they're like,
Oh, you
"Wait,
mean yeah, you mean I'm so sorry. You mean Grand Theft Auto 5.
I think it was
That's
5."
yeah, 5 made the $1 billion in like what? A month?
Because if you think about it, like, you're a voiceover actor, you're also strapping on that suit,
Mhm,
the motion capture
mhm.
suit. It's a good
Yep,
year's worth of work. It was probably, for them anywhere between 50 to 150,000 maybe. I don't
yep,
know. Maybe.
and they made
And
billions.
and then it makes so much money
Billions.
and they did
And
everything they could to complain about it, but I don't know if they ever got maybe they got a little hush money, I don't know,
who knows?
but
But the
I don't think they
DLCs has
did.
been going on for 10 years. That what the game has been relevant for 10 years plus, and they're still dropping new DLC, and the new part 6 is
Oh
about to
yeah.
come out.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It'll never end. That's one of those. It's like 2K Sports, right? It's like
Right.
it's like it's now
It's a
part of.
staple now.
You
Yeah,
have
it's a
to. They
staple.
have. It's like The Simpsons for video games. It's like if you don't release
Uh-huh.
it,
And
But
see,
My
yeah.
face.
you just touched
Nah.
on another one. We were talking about that
Hey,
too.
you know what we gotta
So
do?
basically, we
Oh
were
my
going into a
gosh.
debate of what characters from the 90s were the cream of the crop, basically, and which ones were like the ones that we want to move on to the Mount Rushmore of the
Oh yeah.
90s cartoon characters. So a lot of the ones you're hitting all the ones that we just went over, like
Oh,
during the previous.
you mean Homer Simpson's gonna be on there? I hope so, because I was so popular back then. I remember when Bart was the one that everyone liked.
Oh, Homer, you get so sensitive, Homer.
Marge, you're embarrassing me in front of my friends. Yeah, so yeah,
Bro, we gotta Till, we gotta throw that clip
Yes.
into the actual other one, because he said
Oh.
exactly what we did, because we pit Homer and Bart against each other in one of the frames. And I was debating for Bart because I'm like, look, Bart's the one that got us all hooked into this.
You all right over there?
I was like,
Look,
Bart
hold
got
on,
us
dude.
hooked.
Hold on, dude.
And then
Hold on,
Homer
dude.
kind of ran with it from there, and then everybody started loving Homer the most.
He
And
became
that's what
dumber.
was crazy.
As soon as
Yeah.
he became dumber, yeah. Yeah.
Okay, wait. Let me just. I gotta. Oh my gosh. Let me just not fan out. Eric, we've been friends for like 2 years now, right? Year, 2 years,
Yeah.
whatever. Okay,
Sure.
check it out. You're easily, when you walked out of the booth, Korey said you're his favorite, right? And he's just now meeting you virtually, right? Like, dude, you're easily like this is like a straight up, like I'm straight shooter, like the greatest, my brother. And I've told you this to your face a couple times, right? And just the display, and you're not. And the thing I love about you, dude, it's probably it's the Toronto one you do. It has to be.
Well, today I'm the Grizzlies, but
Yeah.
Yeah, he's Memphis
I'm
today.
West Coast. The tones of this hat match the cheesy cardigan better.
Well, I mean, dude, it's just the fact that like you're like a real person, right? We know the a-holes and the volatile. We know who they are. You know who you are, asshole.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, but it's just the fact that you're such a real person, and it's like it's you're so inviting, and it's very comfortable. This is probably going to be one of our best episodes
Oh, this
yet.
is going viral for sure. No questions about it.
Yeah,
I can
dude, and
guarantee
like,
it.
and it's great, like to be here and to have this conversation with you, and just to how we've built an amazing rapport over the years. And I like to make sure everything is authentic and it's real. And I'm not gonna overdo stuff or whatever. But like when I told you like I was gonna start this thing, I meant what I said, and to have my buddy with me
No.
to like we're doing this together. It's like a journey. It's fun. It makes me feel like I'm providing my contribution to this thing that we love. And dude, I just want to tell you thank you just for being here and just
Definitely appreciate it.
sharing with us.
Oh
you know,
yeah. Yeah, for
this
sure,
is
man.
great, man. And congrats on everything. Oh, you forgot my text, bro. Double fist. I gotta see him.
Oh
We
no,
gotta
really?
Yes. Come on.
I don't want to be that guy.
We need you
know
to be
what?
that guy.
Honestly, you would be the first person.
I know. That's why I asked.
I haven't even posted a picture with like both of them together.
That's the point.
It's crazy though.
We're trying to be the best.
I'm wearing this cardigan though, and it's kind of
Mhm.
only if we take a frame grab.
Nope. We're listen.
Okay.
The
Just
first.
just for you.
Thank you.
You might be the only people that I will ever do this with.
And that's fine.
Because honestly, the big question always is for me, at least, is like, where do you display your Emmys? And I'm like, I don't. They're literally in the box that they came from the night that I got them in my closet somewhere. So I don't like have as soon as you walk into my house, they're not.
Here's all your stuff.
If I ever did display them anywhere, I would do like a DJ turntable setup where they're like constantly rotating on the ones and twos.
Around.
On the ones and twos. Okay. I took a break to bring these guys out, so I will take a break to
Okay.
For
to go
sure.
get just for
Absolutely.
you guys. There we go.
Uh-oh.
Because it doesn't look attractive when you walk into a room with these things. It has to be like the pop on reveal. You guys can still hear me, correct?
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, I just remembered how goddamn heavy. I just remembered how heavy one is.
Mm.
Let alone,
You'll probably have about 6 of them and stuff.
oh, I don't know about that. I feel like
You're the
again,
goat, bro. You're the goat. Have you done anime? Shit.
I have actually. If you watch the new, what is it? Not Adam, well, Pluto. Pluto. Is it called Pluto?
Mhm.
It's like the Astro Boy kind of like reboot.
Yeah, yeah.
I play one of the robots on that.
That's awesome.
Oh God. Okay, here we go. Hey guys. Hey. Again, I'm back,
Hello.
and I wanted you to meet my my twin daughters. Everyone knows of my son, but nobody knows that I have these two right here.
Woo!
Today's arm day. Yeah. Saturdays I save for the arms. Sundays are back and shoulders. But this is kind of. Oh, I'm already destroying them. Yeah, this is kind of ridiculous. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what to do with my hands, as Ricky Bobby once said.
Oh my gosh.
Oh man.
Yeah, this is kind of weird. You guys are the only people I will do this this for and with. But so this is the first one that has like the nameplate, and unlike the Oscars, and this is what you will learn. This is what you will learn when you guys win your first Emmys, is that they come blank.
Okay.
They don't have the band on them. This comes in the mail, and you literally have to do it yourself. There's literally like they send you the band. The funny part was explaining this to Jack Black when I won the second one. He was like, "Wait a second." He's like, "Dude, where are the names?" I was like, "They come in the mail, Mr. Black. Yeah, you have to do it yourself. You literally."
Not the DIY Emmys.
Yeah, see, those are the screws that you have to like. They give you a special screwdriver too,
That's crazy.
but yeah, here it is. This is this is actually the first Emmy ever given to a performer for performing Bugs. Of course, the Emmys did not exist when Mel Blanc originally performed the characters. The Oscars did, though. There was an Academy Award that was given to the short, but unfortunately, only producers and directors, I believe, get that that recognition, not the actor or performers. So he did have an Oscar, and I think it was when I think Friz Freeling passed away that they gave him his Oscar. But of course,
Okay.
when I was handed this one, I spent a lot of time talking about Mel Blanc and how
I watched him.
much this is for him, because
Mhm.
he was never really awarded one for Bugs, and if I'm the first person to ever win one, I said the first words that to come out of my mouth are not "thank you" or "Mel Blanc," then I don't deserve this recognition. So, and again, same thing goes for this one. It was for the same 4 characters in a different category. But I did go back to back. And I keep bonking my microphone. Maybe that's the thing. It's like you got to christen your microphone.
You gotta
Yeah,
do it
with
like the champagne flute. You gotta bang them together real quick. Like,
how obnoxious does this look? I don't know.
That's bro, like that is so
I can
freaking
say,
amazing.
just from
I'm
the little bit I know about your personality now,
It's
I can
amazing,
see how
bro.
it is for you. And being
Yeah,
like a Filipino heritage, you guys are
Filipino
very
and
humble.
Canadian. Filipino
Right.
Canadian. Yeah,
You're humble people. So it's
yeah.
not something for you to do is gloat and like put things on display and idolize things. So it's pretty dope. And I
It's
like how
funny.
you move, and it's great that you
Yeah,
achieve those achievements.
it's funny because like I was gonna bring this one home actually, I'm supposed to go. This is weird but funny and true. But I'm friends with the guy that's inside the Raptor costume for all the Raptor games for the
Okay.
Toronto
Okay.
Raptors. That's why I get
Yeah.
such great seats. But he wants me to go there next week to hand out Looney Tunes Raptor OVO sweaters that OVO, Drake's company had produced and
Yeah.
collaborated on. So they're
I
gonna have
might need
me.
to come out for that game. Hold
Let's
on.
do it.
You
Let's
should come
fucking
out,
go.
man.
Let's go. Let's
You gotta
go.
go. Let's go
Bro,
to Toronto.
we're gonna make it happen. Let's make it happen.
Let's go,
I'm
man.
ready.
But
Let's do it.
yeah, he said bring your Emmys, and I'm like, I'm not gonna lug these on a plane. Like
Why?
it was hard enough to bring one of them, but then I was like, if I brought one, I could bring one, and then I told my
Right.
parents like, oh, I'm gonna bring this one and leave it at home. And my mom panicked. My mom was like, "Don't bring that home. It's someone's going to rob us. They're going to steal it from us." And I'm like, I live in LA. It's like worse. There's more of a chance that someone would steal it from me, not from you guys. But yeah, it's just funny.
That's so Filipino, bro. That's
Yeah,
just like
Facts.
just knowing the culture and the people and how they are.
Mhm.
Like older
Yep.
traditional Filipino people always are worried about people stealing their valuable
so yeah,
information.
I'm not gonna put my mom through that stress of like having one of these at the house. But I was like, why not? It would be cool to leave one in
You,
Toronto.
you know what'll be
For
sick? You
sure.
know that the one the trend what's the little voiceover trend on social?
Oh
You buy one and oh well if I buy one now he's gonna need a friend.
yeah.
That's that'd be perfect, dude. That'd be so perfect.
Well, dude, I don't know. I unless you guys had any other, I feel like because I don't want to.
I mean, we
No, no,
do, but I listen. We're good. We can always, like I
am I
said,
free
run a
to
separate
post
episode.
anything?
Yeah,
Okay,
post this
perfect.
post this photo.
Well,
Hey
let
guys,
me get this one. Hold on.
hey.
Let me get this one. Let me get this one. Ready? Bowser.
Post the
Yeah.
teaser. Post the
So,
teaser, dude. Post
Almost
that
there.
today.
oh, for
Almost
sure,
there.
we're gonna chop some stuff up. But
Eric,
yeah. So no, we
it's
appreciate everything you've done.
yeah, dude.
And if you could go ahead and just shout out like your socials, anywhere that people can look out for you, and just whatever you want to let people know.
Well, you can find me at Bauzilla on Instagram and X Twitter. That's at Bauzilla. And yeah, man. As always, it's been a pleasure, and actually finally getting to meet you, Corey. It's so great, and I know that
Absolutely.
we'll hang in person. That's no doubt. And again, we'll do another. This won't be the last time we chat on this show.
Because I can't
Absolutely.
stop saying that type of talk.
Yeah,
Feel
or
free, dude.
or if you guys have like a guest that you think I would be good as like a contributor, like if there's like
Complimentary.
another voiceover like person like that we could have a mega episode with
Oh yeah.
if you get
So
Terrence
so
Strong or Mark Hamill or whoever is
I'm,
smart
tr-
enough to come on the show.
for
I'm
sure.
trying to get Goku to come on right now. So that'd be great.
Nice.
Yeah, you and Shauna,
Voiced by.
Schimmel, Shauna Schimmel.
Oh yes. Oh my
Yeah,
gosh,
yeah,
you guys would have a blast.
yeah.
Yeah, I
Shauna's
mean,
great.
there's so many great Canadian voiceover artists in Vancouver that I know would have a great time talking with you. Like someone like Brian
I'm,
Drummond.
yeah.
Bring them. Bring them.
Stop.
If
I
you
need
have,
him. I love Brian Drummond. I need him.
do you want me to ask him for
Yes.
you? I would.
Yes.
Okay,
Please
sure.
Yes.
Please
Yes.
do.
And I would
Yes.
gladly do. I want him to have a standalone episode, but I would gladly.
That's what I was gonna say. We'll do standalone and combo.
I would, or you go halfway through like his episode and then just add me to the chat as a surprise.
Surprise you. You pop out. We'll pop out the
Yeah.
picture of you with the Emmys. Da 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 da. Eric Bauza has arrived.
This is the sign of a real Canadian trader. It's like you can't get these in
That'll be your
Canada.
bat signal.
Bowser Bunny has
Yeah.
entered the chat.
Yeah.
That's funny. That's
Bro,
how
we appreciate
that's
you
how
so
we
much, bro.
that's how we locked in. It was the comment. It was the Bowser Bunny comment.
I'm telling you, man.
Yeah.
Hey,
Mhm.
like I said, these things happen for a reason, and I'm glad that
Absolutely.
we all had a chance to meet and get acquainted, and have a common love for the same things. And I feel like that's
Mhm.
what's gonna
propel things.
For the industry and for all of humanity. That's that's all we got. Is just to stick with each other. Find the good people and
Yeah.
hang on to them because
Premium friends is what I like to call them.
yeah,
Premium.
it's getting
Premium
tough
friends.
out there. It's getting harder and harder to kind of shake off the
Weed for
ones that
people.
yeah, you kind of shake off the ones that aren't contributing or aren't adding to your life, and that's okay, because the ones that matter most are gonna stick with you. And yeah, man, I think that's a good message to leave out on. But again, I appreciate the time that you guys have had with me, and I'm sure it's gonna be a great episode. You guys will do some masterful editing, but.
Absolutely.
No, for
On
sure.
that note, I'll say,
this is that type of talk, folks, and that's all, folks.
yeah,
I can't wait to come up there and like practice, like try to do some voiceover stuff because I'm very well spoken and I've been good at a lot of things, but I've never tried to really like throw my voice and stay in another voice and do things. And I
Mhm.
yeah,
feel like
Um,
I'd be able to find some different, lanes and stuff too. So it'd be fun to come up and play. I could like, tweak the audio settings. We
uh,
could do a bunch of stuff, just hang out. Be
everyone
cool.
has like a different set of tools. There are voices that you can do that I can't, and
That's true.
these are the ones that'll separate you from everyone else. So you know, always,
Respect.
always find find the one thing that works for you, and then once you get comfortable with that, it'll just like a Katamari ball. It'll just get bigger and bigger and bigger. So
Everybody, again, my boy Eric Bauza, pan up there from what part you from? You over there in Toronto. May I see man with the two thing them in the hand them acting like so? Yeah, man. May I go give me we're looking for a whole plate of craft dinner.
that's right.
Ferrero Rocher, all the chocolate and the candy and the thing that they.
You got to get
Oh, and what I was going to tell you too,
Jamaican beef patties. Yeah.
Yeah, man.
I was going to say what we should do is we should make a Looney Tunes Christmas album.
Yeah, dude. We'll do let it snow, but like the Boys to Men cover. But
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's
All
do
right.
it.
Well, cool. We'll let
cool
you go
guys.
ahead and get to it and whatnot. I appreciate you. Like, we've already said, definitely am very, very grateful. And I love your personality and like the way you are. So we'll be popping up on you
Thank
sooner
you.
than you know.
All right, guys.
Later.
Peace.
All
Have
right.
a good day,
See you
man.
later.
Bye, man.
Take
Oh
care,
man.
guys.